So dudes, when you think of entry fragging, you might think of the typical sweaty gamer bro that only focuses on aiming. But what if I told you entry fragging actually requires you to be smart? So with a teammate on a drone and a solid plan, you can make plays happen without needing to be an exceptionally good shot. In this video, we'll talk about the methodology of entry fragging so that you can try the rollout for yourself without needing impressive mechanics. This video will help for especially defender-sided maps that might feel tough for you to take gunfights on. On a defender-sided map like Cafe, it can be difficult to deal with the entrenched elevated position they have at the top of the building. Fortunately for you, you have the option of dealing with this in a much more practical and efficient way in the game War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicular combat game ever made, and the sponsor of this video. If you like Siege's variety, War Thunder has variety as well. You can play over 2,000 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships in dynamic land, air, and sea player versus player arenas. The attention to detail in this game is comprehensive, everything down to the nuts and bolts, making an immersive and grounded experience. You can play the game for free on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. This game is an engineering nerd's dream and offers you up-close and personal depictions of war machines over the course of 100 years of development, from biplanes to supersonic jets. One of the things that makes the game so exciting is how accessible it is, allowing you to play it with a mouse and keyboard thanks to its intuitive and easy-to-use controls. The sheer amount of variety of vehicles you can operate, in my mind, is the main appeal. And there's never a shortage of playstyles to explore. Check out War Thunder for free at the link in the description on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, or at the pinned comment. New War Thunder players, including those who haven't played for 6 months, will get a large bonus pack using my link, which will grant you multiple premium vehicles, a premium account, an exclusive 3D decorator for your vehicles, and much more, available for a limited time. So like I said, check out War Thunder for free at the link in the description or the pinned comment. Thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. All right, so an entry fragger takes the initial gunfights for their team. In Siege, this job is accompanied by an active drone. A passive drone, or a pre-placed drone, is something that the entry fragger is usually going to place on a static position to watch across, or something so they can avoid getting surprised while they enter the building. The support player is going to active drone in the entry player, while the entry player leaves the passive drone somewhere else. Make sense? So you can see how you don't need crazy aim to do this, because you're basically using an extra set of eyes ahead of you to guarantee a one gunfight before it even starts. Now, if it were that easy, you wouldn't be watching this video, but that's the idea and concept. I'm not a particularly mechanically skilled FPS player, not like I need to remind you. I don't think you'd be subscribed to the channel for that. But chances are, if you play these kinds of games regularly, you probably have a better baseline than you think. A better baseline than the average person anyway. Kind of like how every basketball player who plays pickup games is going to have better dribbling than the average person, even if they're not exceptionally talented at it. You can apply that to your play as well. So an entry fragger is a player that is responsible for taking the initial gunfights for your team. Now, if you're not familiar with the terminology, you might be thinking, what's the point of making that distinction? Can't anybody do this? Can't any operator do this? They can. Anybody can entry frag. Anybody can play a supportive role as well. For instance, here's me entry fragging on Thatcher, a character normally designed exclusively for support. Heard main, right?
He's on main, he's on main, he's on main. Like, he's on the stairs, top stairs.
Dead.
Nice.
So this is the general rule of thumb. I've marked entry frags that I'd consider for ranked play in pink. If you're just getting into the role and you're not familiar with it, you could start with any of these operators. Buck and Sledge, some people might take an issue with, but I think for the purpose of ranked play, which is what most of you watch my videos for, they fit the bill. They might have something a little bit more specific in terms of map control and destructive potential in a competitive environment. They might not be as flexible in terms of their positioning, but for ranked, they fit the bill. They both have really good guns, and they have utility that can double up as a utility bonus. So before I talk about entry fragging, I have to talk about map control, and that's the important part about this job, not getting picks. Map control in the context of an FPS game basically describes parts of the map that you own. It describes your territory. The more map control you have, the more options you have. More holes you can make, more flanking routes to choose from, more angles to hold if the defenders want to flank you. So while defenders will fight you for map control and sometimes will go down as the result of a gunfight while they are fighting you for that, that is not necessarily what getting map control entails. You can get map control by sending 4 people to one spot and there's one roamer who says, F this, I'm out, and they leave. That's map control. You get map control without getting a pick in that instance, but in this instance, I get map control by getting a pick because they're fighting me for it. So sometimes when you watch me stream and I'm playing on defense and I say we have to contest this, I'm saying we need to keep this map control for a little bit longer, because if we just sit in sight with 2 minutes left on the clock, that gives the attackers a million years to drone us out, get their map control, make cutoffs, and then we can't win the round because we have no options. We have no positioning. We have nowhere to go. So defenders don't necessarily have to gunfight you, but if they do, they're contesting you. They are contesting you for map control, and sometimes that results in a gunfight. So let's talk about the step-by-step process in terms of a good entry frag position. So step one, you want to get a pre-placed drone down. Get a pre-placed drone somewhere close to where you're going to be entering. In this case, I want to go for a cafe hit. So I have a drone on an elevated position that's kind of concealed, not perfectly concealed. Maybe Solus will find it, but it's better than sitting outside the building looking at nothing. While you're waiting, you can cycle through different cameras to get an idea of where the enemy is. Maybe you'll find information you didn't already know. Use your ears, right? Play with a headset and you can hear where people are. Sometimes there'll be a roamer on a staircase nearby and you can call that as a sound cue. Now you're ready to actually get into the building and start taking some map control. So when I say entry fragging is not about getting kills, it's about getting map control. Now, if you have a buddy, you can ask them to drone for you. Here, I tell my buddy Priest that I hear yellow stairs audio, and then he drones in so I can get a pick. This is step 2, watch and listen.
Checking yellow. On yellow stairs. Landing. Yellow landing. Crouch, 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 crouch. Okay.
Good call. So Priest calls crouched. That's a huge call for me because as I'm peeking, I don't see Bandit. So that's really useful for me. That lets me know exactly where his head is. And then boom, clean kill. All right, so now I got to pick. How does this help us get map control? Well, it helps us get map control because now we've cut off a staircase for flanks. Unless somebody decides to do a risky play there, they're going to make sound cues. They have to retake that control. Staircase control in Siege is really nice to have because, duh, staircases give you the ability to go between floors. So if you clear all the rooms on the top floor and you control the staircases, you have top floor control. If you're attacking for a basement site, this is really, really nice to have. It allows you to get vertical. It gives you time to stop, drone the site. Where is their stuff? To think about what you're going to do before you do it instead of this constant cycle of here's another gunfight, here's another gunfight, here's another gunfight. The attackers need time to solve the puzzle piece. The defenders have given them. Map control lets you do that. Here's another example of Priest droning me in for an entry frag pick.
Close right now. Close.
Good call. Nice. Step 3 is repeat step 2 until you get to the site. Listen to Priest's calls here.
Right now.
Initiation clear.
Okay, moving up. Sounds like waiting.
Join your office. Okay, initiation's clear. I'm joining your office side though.
I got whoever that was. Downstairs.
Office clear.
So when we're talking about map control, Priest just called me office is clear. That's the room to my right. So I don't have to worry about what's to my right. I don't have to worry about what's behind me. I only have to focus on what's ahead of me towards the site. So I have time to drone and figure out what to do for the site execute. That's it. That's the whole concept of map control. It's just eliminating variables that you can get hit from so that you can more easily plant a diffuser or eliminate the rest of the enemy team to win the round. That's it. That's entry fragging. So entry fragging isn't so much about getting picks as much as it is spearheading your team's ability to make a play. So if you watch traditional sports, think of this like route running as a wide receiver. We talked about how entry fraggers can do supportive roles. Wide receivers have to block on plays sometimes too, right? So it's the same principle. Everybody can do everything, but everybody has a specific job they're going to be doing most of the time. So as an entry fragger, what is your route? If you're going for a laundry hit, think of your route. You're probably going to go through garage. You're probably going to go through main. So for your route, make a pre-placed drone for that before you go into the building. Okay, don't do that. Here's an example of one that I always like to use on Oregon. So we can sit on this drone, and then we can listen for sound cues. We can usually hear if somebody comes up the staircase and goes towards classroom. We can obviously see if somebody crosses here towards Z or meeting. And obviously we can see into the garage itself. We can see that garage is clear. Check for peeks. All right, boom. We're in the building now. Now, if I have to hold flank for a second, this is a nasty pixel to hold for Z-Hall. And if somebody comes out of meeting, right? So this is my map control. When I'm in garage, I can leverage gunfights for this hallway. I can leverage gunfights for the big meeting door. Nobody can come up the staircase safely. I have garage map control. This is what I get as an attacker when I have garage map control. So like I said, if we're doing a laundry hit, let's pretend that everything goes swimmingly. And this is just all for examples, right? If the bomb is here, bomb gets down here, we do the laundry hit successfully. This drone that was placed 1,000,000 years ago is still helping your team, right? So even if you die, even if you lose your heads up 1, you're still bringing value. You're still helping your team in some way. That's what the game is about. It's about doing these little things. It's about checking all these little boxes. So being a good entry fragger, right? Like this is all, that's great. Okay, a lot of people can do that. But it's a trick question, okay? What makes a good entry fragger in Siege isn't just about how you can shoot. It's about you being a team player. When you're picking a role in Siege, you are still contextualizing your job in relation to other people. It is a team-based game. So if you want to get better at entry fragging, go into the shooting range. Nope. Trick question, okay? Everybody should be practicing their mechanics. Support players practice their mechanics. Entry fraggers practice their mechanics. What makes you different from the support player is the specifics of what you do in the prep phase and throughout the course of the round. So you can always work on your mechanics. Everybody can work on their mechanics, not just you. But if you want to do the job better, we can go into a custom game and I can show you some pre-placed drone spots. How about that? That will help you get up to speed a lot faster. All right, so here's one for bank. Really big open map. This will help you out a lot. Okay, so we have this big filing cabinet here, or whatever, these shelves. There's probably drone parkour here with slightly less steps, but for the purpose of the video, this works. So we're going to ride this edge along the side here. Jump onto here. There's a sign. Put the drone on top of the sign. And there you go. You put this drone up a little bit later on, maybe not right away at the start of the prep phase because people will usually find it when they walk this way, but at around, 15 seconds into the round itself, when everybody has ran through here and they're not really paying attention, all you have to do, right? Take this drone, boop, and now I can see everything. When somebody comes by that's too close, drop it down, they can't see it. Okay, well, don't do that. Definitely don't do what I just did. So this drone for Villa is cool because we can go from the ground floor to the top floor before the prep phase is over. We get really, really early initial entry info. So we jump on top of this ledge. Then we're going to jump on the tree. And we want to get on this part of the tree. Check that out. So now we have info faster than we normally would, just because there's a tree there. This can allow you to set up for a master overhit in case that's what your team wants to do an alternate take. Let's say there's a mirror setup by study and you just don't want to mess with that. So now everybody can spawn over here and then you save a ton of time. Clubhouse, I have a couple of drones. You'll have to get the timing of this one right because usually people will intercept it before you even get to the door, especially if it's CC. But for basement, you can probably get away with it. You just hide it behind this engine block here. If you're not paying attention, you're probably not going to see it unless you're Solus. Or if you just check for it manually. Probably not a bad idea to do this, honestly. For the other drone, this is a cutoff drone for bar. On top of the bar, on top of the bore head, and then on top of the AC vent. This one is really cool because you can get a little creative with the positioning of it depending on what you specifically want to look at. Just get off the drone and people usually won't look at it. Chances are, unless you're looking for it, you'll run right past it. For consulate, I've been using this even before the rework. It's not as effective as it used to be, but it still works. Foliage and debris are good places to hide drones. To be 100% honest, you can use this camera more like a microphone. Right side audio means they're coming from vending side. Left side audio means they're coming from Visa. And you can usually tell if there's staircase audio or not. Pretend I'm a roamer trying to make a rotate back to sight. Did you see the drone? See, I couldn't even find it for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different pathways because of one drone that probably isn't going to be seen. See how easy this was? It took me no effort. No gunfighting. This is what I'm talking about when I say people overcomplicate this game. This took me, what, 30 seconds? If that. Lastly, here's a drone you can set up either if the site is on the top or the bottom floor in cafe. Hopefully get past anybody looking from the balconies. If you can hide it in the glass, it makes it just a tiny bit more difficult to spot. As you can see here, the light kind of refracts. Whereas if I positioned it here, a little bit easier to see. In order to break the glass, you have to jump the drone straight at it because of the way the destruction physics work. So you can hear brown stairs, and you can obviously see if people are walking from heaven towards cocktail and maybe playing on the bomb chassis. This is also super useful for spotting C4s like Valk or Pulse below. So yeah, I hope this video helps you play entry frag without even having to do any aim stuff at all. This is all the mechanical work involved before you even take a gunfight. If this video helped you out, let me know if you'd like to see more like it. Maybe I'll talk about anchoring on site, roaming, etc. Other roles just like this one. Once again, thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Use my link in the description to claim a large bonus pack now. Thanks again.